Okay. So your cast and crew is predominantly female, which I think is super awesome.
Yay.
So what was that decision? What motivated you to make that decision? Why do you think that was important?
Oh God, because I have been writing TV for a while, I've been in rooms where I was the only woman. I've been in rooms where I was like, one of 3 women with like 9 dudes. And so I've never been in a room that was half women, and I've never been in a room that was majority women. So I was always like, just kind of keeping my eye on that. Wanted to really like, as much as we could, push for as many female voices and people, especially with a show called Florida Girls. It was just like a priority. Yeah.
And then speaking to the experience that you have, who inspired you for your work in TV? And like, kind of, you got this idea. Where did it come from?
I mean, inspirations have been people like Tina Fey who like do both. I'm always so fascinated to learn about. And I think like who's like the Fleabag, the girl who just did Fleabag. What's her name? Fleabag?
Yes, I know the show.
Yes.
I don't know the name.
Phoebe something, Kate, whatever her name is. She's incredible. And like I feel like anytime I'm like learning about people that are multi-hyphenates, I'm always very inspired by them. But the show came from me just growing up in Florida. I lived in Florida from age 9 to age 20, and it was just like a very like specifically fun, wild place to grow up. And I always wanted to kind of tell those stories. So I've always been trying to figure out a way to get a show made where I could tell stories of like, not being like a 20-something who just graduated college in the big city, but more like a 20-something who like didn't, go to high school in a small town, was my goal.
And then, since you did grow up in Florida and you have all those experiences, was there like a specific aspect that you incorporated into the show that you made sure was illustrated within the show?
I mean, I think a lot of like the specific stories and stuff have been taken from different adventures that I've gone on. The friend group on the show is kind of a combination of like every woman I've known throughout my life. And one of the best compliments that we've gotten on the show is people being like, "Oh, I'm from Indiana and I know these girls," or like, "I'm from Michigan and I know these girls," and you're like, "Oh, okay, so it's not just like Florida specific, it's like, poverty specific and like women specific and flawed character specific in a great way." But yeah, that answers your question.
Yeah. And then what do you hope viewers take away from the overall meaning, message of the show?
Gosh, I mean, I think like what we're trying to do is sort of, which is something I believe in, which is like, we're not saying like, oh, living in Florida is bad and going to college and moving to a big city is good. We're trying to show both sides of that argument because I have such a strong feeling that like it would be nice to not be in traffic on the 405 and like be like on a beach drinking a margarita and like not stressing about my future or whatever. So there's like an element of that that's like, enjoying your life, having fun, being with your friends, and being present is all that matters. And then there's, the other side of it that's like, be responsible, don't drink and drive, don't be an idiot, like, because you will throw your life away. And so we're constantly playing with those two ideas, and every character has a different point of view in terms of what is the value of life, what is the best thing that you can get out of life. And so we're kind of playing with those things.
And then, since we are at a TV fest, is there a specific, either it could be TV or music or movies, is there something that, you kind of really draw inspiration from that kind of style of TV, or is it kind of just Florida Girls as its own brand altogether?
Well, no, I mean, I feel like I'm very inspired by like a lot of single camera comedies and cable comedies. I love like Broad City. I wrote on the Mick and I really loved the Mick. Tons of shows. I mean, I think like it's impossible not to be like inspired and pull from different shows, unless you're making like an acid trip show that no one's ever seen before. But no, I think there's a lot of like traditional storytelling in Florida Girls, and it feels like a sitcom. We're just kind of dealing with like sometimes edgier premises than like network TV. But it's it's definitely inspired from just like structurally like comedy, that we all know and love.
And going off of that, what's something that you just like fangirl about? It could be past, present.
Oh gosh. what do I fangirl about? I guess like I'm really I'm really into like self-help books and like Brené Brown and that kind of stuff. So like I feel like if I saw Brené Brown walk in like with Brad Pitt, I would be like, move Brad Pitt, like I gotta meet Brené Brown.
You can throw Brad Pitt at us. I mean, we'd do that for you.
I'd probably hold on to Brad Pitt. I'd move him and then I'd hold on to him and then I would talk to Brené Brown.
Keep him on the side.
And he would be here and then she would be here, you know.
And is there anything from those books that you try to incorporate within your show?
Oh my god! I mean, I'm a huge proponent that like people can change when they want to. That if you do the work, if you look inward, all of that stuff. Like I really do believe in that, and I think like I really do want. I know in comedies a lot of times the characters are very stasis, and you kind of grow them slowly, and we're growing them slowly. But I really do want to grow them, and the overall like feeling of the show is like you can get out of your own way, you can benefit your life and help yourself. It just takes time and you might fuck up a lot along the way. But yeah, and I think like whenever I'm like talking to writers about how to help them with writing or how to help your career, I'm always like, go to therapy. Go to therapy. It'll make everything better. It'll help everything. Yeah.
So speaking of writers, is there any advice you would give to people who are trying to get into the industry, TV writing, or just working on a set, things like that?
It's funny. My most simple advice, I think, is the hardest advice to implement, which is write. Like I think I know a lot of people that really want to be writers, and then I'm like, oh, what have you written? And they're like, I haven't exactly written anything. And so I think like my advice to people is just write. And I know it's like so scary and awful and painful, and you'll get like stress diarrhea and you'll send emails that are like, oh, this is garbage, but just read it if you can. Like do all of it. It's so hard, I get it, but just write and keep writing, and then take your garbage script and set it aside and write another garbage script and set it aside, and then if you write 7 garbage scripts, like your 8th script is going to be less garbage. It just has to be. And like I just think that's what I did, and like anyone I know that's been able to make it or any kind of career as a writer is like writing all the time, I don't believe in the like you're only a writer if you have to write every day and it calls to yourself. I don't believe in that. I think if you enjoy writing, write. Sometimes it's not enjoyable, that's fine. Write anyway, and then just keep writing until you get better at it. That's my advice.
When did you start writing? Like what kind of...
Yeah, I started like 10 years ago. I dropped out of high school, much like these characters in the show, and I didn't go to college, but I wanted to be a writer, but I didn't know what that meant. And I met someone who taught writing at university level, and he started emailing me like assignments and stuff because he's like a very like teacherly kind of person. And so I started doing them, and slowly like he would give me his thoughts, and it just gave me like a nugget of confidence, like I think if you don't go to university, if you don't have like parents who are like, you can do anything, my parents were pretty positive, but they weren't like, go be a brilliant writer. That wasn't in our family like idea. But he gave me a nugget of confidence of like, you can do this, keep writing, encouragement, and that really helped. And then I just kept writing and like read every book I could get my hands on, read every script, watched 30 Rock with like a whiteboard and broke down structure and just did it.
And I don't think people realize like all the effort that goes into creating a script and all the hard work and ideas. So how does that kind of, what's it like, I guess, to write a script from scratch and just kind of going into it?
Yeah, it's definitely super hard. I mean, this kind of took a couple of years. Like I did like wrote it and then rewrote it like a year later. Like it took a long time, especially pilots, because you have to create these like characters that are specific and different from each other, and then also have some kind of story engine. It's very challenging, but like doable and learnable, I think. But yeah, not easy. I think like my writing mentor says like, he's like, when I look at someone rock climbing, I never think to myself like, I could do that, like someone at the top of a mountain. But he was like, people watch good movies and good TV shows, and they're like, I could write, because it's so effortless seeming when they're good, But then when you sit down, you're like, holy fuck, this is hard. Yeah.
And then, I mean, obviously you worked for, you wrote for the Mick. Is there a writer that you kind of, like, took you under your wing,
Yeah, that would be my mentor, his name is Anthony Tambakis, and he's like a screenwriter. He actually lives in Austin, but he wrote the movie Warrior, and he wrote like Jane's Got a Gun, and like Gringo that just came out like last year. He's a screenwriter working all the time, brilliant dude, and he sort of like taught me how to do it all, and like gave me that negative confidence. So yeah, he's great. He lives in Austin. You guys might meet him. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so now you said there's a lot of inspiration drawn from your own life. Are you worried that people are going to watch it and be like, oh, that's me, like I did that?
I don't think so, because it's all kind of like, it's like women that I've known from like LA and people I've met on the bus and like, like interactions I've had at Starbucks. Like it's all taken from so many different people and so many different experiences that it's not just like super clean, like, oh, that's obviously like Sarah, that's not it at all. And I think for the most part, like, I think everyone that I know back home is so excited about the show. And one of my close friends who's seen episodes is like, it's our childhood. Like she's so happy and she's so delighted that like inspiration came from the stuff that we all went through together. So
was it always gonna be the premise of summary that you have now, or was it something totally different when you began and it kind of evolved over?
I really wanted to have a show set in Florida, but we knew that was going to be challenging because I think a lot of shows are set in like New York, LA, Chicago, whatever, and so initially it was like, what if someone from Florida comes to live with someone in LA? And it was like that, but I was like, I just want to be in Florida so bad. So yeah, we ended up just trying to figure out a way to make it work that they were in Florida. So the opening of like one girl getting out and going to the big city kind of gave us the like momentum of like, oh, this is a show about the girls who stay behind. And everybody knows that because everyone's been, in their small town and either left or stayed. So it's like everyone can kind of relate to that concept. And that helped us really break it open.
Did you film in Florida?
We filmed in Savannah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we were there for like 4 months. And it looks very, very, very similar. Their tax credit is obviously makes it like hard to not do there. Yeah.
Did you have a lot of outdoor? Because I know Georgia gets pretty hot.
It was like why? Like the challenges didn't come from like toxic emotional fighting. Like everyone was like, I love you so much, but I'm so fucking cold. Or like I'm so fucking hot. There's so many gnats. I'm getting bitten alive. Like it was all like physical challenges and like long hours and hard work. But yeah, Georgia definitely was like, I'm here and you're going to be aware of me. It was not like an easy like Los Angeles soundstage.
Was your cast and crew people that you worked with prior, or were they kind of...
Our pilot director, actually 2 of our directors were our pilot director, Kat Cuero. She was a director on The Mick, and she was beloved on The Mick and directed a bunch of episodes, so we were so lucky to get her. But she like spent her summers in Florida, so she was like, oh, I have visions for this, and we were like, thank you, God. And now she's become like the hottest director in LA. Right now she's directing every pilot. It's insane. But she directed our pilot last year, and then all the girls I kind of knew from LA, like from UCB and Groundlings and stuff. And when they auditioned, I was like, I knew them from that world. But most of the crew was Savannah locals, yeah.
And then final question.
Yeah.
How would you describe the show to somebody who may have not heard of it or read about it? How would you describe it in 3 words?
Oh gosh. I guess this is more than 3 words, but I think of it as like a different kind of family show. I think like these girls are a family and they have one car. They operate as a family, but they're not blood related and they're all women and they're all the same age. But they're all growing up together and they're all raising each other. And so yeah, it's like a different kind of family show.
So excited to see it.
Yay! Oh good. Yes, please watch it. Tell your friends.
Yeah.
PopTV. The Schitt's Creek Network.
That's what I've been
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I do it too. I go PopTV and then I'm Schitt's Creek Network and everyone's like, gotcha.
You guys do like the thing they sing.
Yeah, it's very like colorful and bright. I really am digging their palette, and it really lends itself to this show because everything's like kind of bright, colorful, and Florida and tropical. And now they're doing their like neon kind of pop thing, and I'm very happy with the promos. But yeah, Schitt's Creek is like America's sweetheart, and I'm so excited for them, and I just want to ride their coattails. So yeah,
And they're ending.
I know,
You
one
just
more
kinda
season.
swoop in and-
Yes, well, that's what's gonna happen. In one season, we're gonna get to Schitt's Creek level fame and popularity. We'll see how that goes.
Will it into existence.
I'm putting it out there. Yes, I'm putting it out there. Brene Brown. Yeah.
It's gonna be really cool. I stayed behind those girls.
100%. Like it's like there's a girl on the show who voices the voice of like, what are you talking about? This town is amazing. Like, why are you so like? And we didn't ever want it to be like a shame on you for staying, and like we wanted to pull on both of those sides because I believe in them so much. I know a lot of people that stayed back home that are a lot happier than like some of my struggling actress friends in LA, you know, and vice versa. So it's like there's no right way to be.
Yeah, it's so realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't realize like how many people stay behind until like you see someone get like Jewel Oscars.
If you were like an alien and you only watched like American television, you would think that every single person like gets on the train to the big city. Like it's always about girls in, you know, big cities, which is great, and I've loved those shows. But I was like, let's have them not do that.
I love my hometown. Like, we're right on the lake, and my husband's like, you should work for like the Visitors Bureau, because I'm always like, look where we live. And he's like, how do you still love it? And I'm like, I just do. And like with the internet now, you don't need to leave.
Yeah, right. And just travel, and
that's
like
what we do.
appreciate your beautiful home with like probably cheaper real estate and cleaner air and cleaner water.